In today's episode, we will make the round system for our game. Make sure to like and subscribe for another episode. And oh my gosh, I'm trying to do an intro here, man. Can you please get out? Sorry about this. Okay, he's gone now. And anyways, welcome back to episode 2 of our survival game series. In today's episode, we'll of course be making the round system. So this is like the lobby and the game. And in the future, we're thinking of having multiple disasters, almost like natural disaster survival on Roblox. But yeah, so first, we want to get a part and scale it to however big you want the lobby floor to be. For now, I'm not going to do anything extravagant. I'm just going to make it 50 by 50 studs, just for a temporary lobby area. Then you want to drag it up, make sure it's anchored too. And we'll also make a folder just to keep everything a bit organized. So one for lobby and then one for the disaster we're going to have. So we're going to call this lava disaster, just to keep it nice and simple. Now you want to drag everything from your lava disaster into that folder. And then next you want to drag the spawn location over towards your lobby area, just so the players spawn there and not in the middle of the air. Okay, next we want to make sure our players don't jump off our lobby and die and cause all nasty things for our code. So we're going to create some walls for them, but don't worry, we won't be able to see these. So we'll scale them to how big you've made your lobby, and then really high, so that way they have no chance getting over them. Like that seems about good. And we'll go over to the transparency and set that from 0 to 1, and that'll make it completely invisible. And then we will just copy these and put them all around the square or rectangle or whatever you have for your lobby. Boom. Awesome sauce. Okay, now our players can't jump off the lobby, but now we need a way for them to get into the lobby from the game. So we can't just kill them, that would be rude. So let's make a new part. So we'll just copy the ground and put it up, and then set it to 1 by 1 by 1 studs. Set the transparency to 1 and can collide to false. And this will be what our players are teleporting to. And we'll create a folder and call it lobby. Oh, we seem to already have a folder. We'll just delete that one because we don't need it anymore. And next we need a part for the players to teleport into our game from the lobby. So we can just copy lava target, because it's everything we need it to be already. And just drag it up and call it player spawn. Next we'll group all of our walls into a folder and call it, let's call it something like walls. That's pretty simple. And we will call our floor, and our teleport part, we'll call that player teleport, just to keep everything nice and organized and ready for coding. So yeah, in the future we'll have multiple disasters, and it'll keep it more diverse and more interesting. So we'll create a new folder and put it in server storage, and let's call this disasters. This is where all of our disasters go into. So next we want to grab our lava disaster folder, and we'll drag it into the disasters folder in server storage. And this will just get rid of it temporarily, and we'll bring it back later on when the game starts. So for now, let's go into server script service and make a script for the game loop. So we'll call this script game loop. And we'll delete the print hello world. And then we need to grab the players. So local players equals game get service players. We will need the server storage for the disasters folder. So server storage equals game get service server storage. And I'll just make this a bit bigger for you so you can see easy. And then we'll put a while true. So this will be our big game loop, so it will go forever. So while true, and we'll make a new variable called the amount of time in the lobby. So you'll set this to however long you want your players to wait for the next game to start. And we'll also make one for time in game. This is how long the rounds will go for. We can change this later if we need, but it's all we really need for our code. So we'll say for I equals time in lobby 1, so comma 1. This will mean go from time to lobby to 1, and we need to say what increment. So we'll go from time of the lobby to 1, going down by 1. So next we want to print out the countdown. Just in output, we can make a GUI later on. Write GUI in the comments if you want that to be the next episode. But we'll do this again, and we'll say for I equals time in game to 1, going down by 1, do whatever is in this code. So we'll put in these for loops print I, and this will just go, let's say I'm printing time in game, it'll go 30, 29, 28, 27, and so on, and we'll make it go by seconds. Next, we want to choose a disaster from our disasters folder, and pick it randomly and make it playable for all the players. So we'll make a function called choose random disaster, and what we're going to do is call it in between the for loops. So that way, after the lobby is finished, we'll pick a disaster and then start the game. What we're going to do, just to expand our coding knowledge a bit, we're going to use an array. So we'll say local disasters equals these curly brackets, and that's just making an array pretty much. So in the choose random disasters function, what we're going to do is loop through every disaster in the server storage folder and then add that to the table. So we can do this in a for loop. So we can say for index and then disaster in pairs, and then we need to get that folder that we have in server storage. So we'll say server storage dot disasters get children do. So what this will do is loop through every single one of our children in that disasters folder, and we'll insert the disaster we're looking at into the table. So we can say this by table.insert disasters disaster name. Even though it's an array, we still call it table.insert. Next, we need to choose a disaster from that array. So we can do this by going the name of the array. We got a bunch of stuff here, but we'll focus on that later. Local random disaster equals, we'll delete this now, chosen disaster equals server storage dot disasters, and then we will get which disaster we've chosen. So in these square brackets, random disaster, and then we'll clone it, just so we keep our original copy in the disasters folder. Then we will change the name of this new one to disaster, and we will make the parent equal to workspace so all the players can see it and interact with it. So the next thing that we want to do is make a new function, and we will call this function teleport players, and we will need to see if we're going to the lobby or not. So we'll put in a parameter called lobby, and we'll say if it is equal to false, so if we're not going to the lobby, then we will teleport players into game. And what these are is just reminders of what you should do later. So we mark comments by the two little dashes at the front, and it won't do anything within the grey. And just for testing purposes, we'll make this 3. So 3, 2, 1. And we have an error just because in that lava disaster script, when we're moving the lava and killing people, we've got it set to workspace.lavatarget, but now it's in a folder, so we'll say workspace.disaster.lavatarget and .disaster.lavaogposition. Because remember, we renamed that folder to disaster when it moves to the workspace. And awesome, that is exactly what we want. But now we just need to check if the lava rises like normal. And yes, it does. So all we need to do now is get the players over there and get the lava to kill them. So we'll say for index player in pairs players get players. This will loop through every player that is currently playing a game. And then we will make their character.humanoid rootparts.cframe equal to the workspace.disaster.player spawn, I believe we called it. Player spawn. And we'll set our parts to the parts C frame. And now we want to do the exact same thing for the lobby, but just using the different parts that we're going to teleport to. But for now, we will just test out our game teleport. We'll call it after we call the other function, just because we need the map to spawn, and boom! Just like that, we're in the game, and we can just play as normal. Just like that. Will the lava rise? Yes, it will. I don't know why, but it really looks like an egg yolk to me. Must just be me. We can call this egg yolk disaster from now on. Okay. But now, we will call this after the game finishes as well, but we'll set going to lobby to true. Oh my gosh, what have I done? I don't know how to get rid of this cursor thing that deletes it whenever you write. Yeah, so if you can leave it in the comments for me, that would be greatly appreciated, how to get rid of that. So yeah, we'll just copy what we have up here, down here, and all we need to do is just change it from workspace.disaster.player_spawn to workspace.lobby.playerteleport.cframe. And that should work, just like that. But we want to make sure the map gets destroyed after we go back to the lobby. That way, so we don't have heaps of disasters piling and piling on top of each other, because that would be a huge problem. But I think it is worth a quick test before we destroy the map. Oh my gosh, it's still 30 seconds. Let me just quickly change that. Just for testing purposes. And we can change this back later, but for now we'll make the in-game time 5 seconds. Boom, the map spawns. And then we teleport back. But of course the map still stays there because we have to destroy it. So when we teleport back in our teleport players function, we will say workspace.disaster destroy. But on the first time we run through this, it will give us an error because we haven't set a disaster yet. So when your game first begins, so we need to say local disaster in lowercase equals workspace find first child disaster or nil. And then we'll say if disaster, then we will destroy it. So we're saying if there is a disaster in workspace, then get rid of it. We don't want it anymore. And we'll just set it to the variable just to keep it all consistent. And yep. So now we should be fine if we hit play. Oh. I just figured out if you hit M1, it gets rid of the white cursor. So no need to leave it in the comments anymore. Okay, anyway, let's see. Will the map destroy? It should, and yes, it does. So that pretty much is our round system fully complete.